Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Wonderful to stand up and see all these wonderful faces out there. I am Patricia Haller, licensed Unity teacher here at Unity in the Gold Country. For those of you who don't know me, I was the ministerial assistant here for about 12 years, and now I'm retired. So I get to play. So today we're continuing on with our 2018 7-week program. Is your God big enough, close enough, you enough? And as we do every week in our 7-week program, we have color themes. And as I look around, I notice most of you got the little notice that today was orange. This is about as orange as I could get, so here we are. But thank you, all of you, for participating in that aspect of our 7-week program. It just kind of brings us all together a little bit. Today's talk title is Your God Big Enough? So last week, Reverend Jerry spoke about how Jesus and us can think about God from 3 different perspectives. So Jesus talked about the infinite face of God. He talked to the intimate face of God. And he talked as the inner face of God. So today I want to concentrate on what the book calls the infinite face of God. So what does the word infinite mean? Charles Fillmore, in his book, The Revealing Word, wrote, "Infinite, that which embraces all, the totality of being, including all knowledge, all space, all life, the completeness of all. That which was from the beginning is now and ever shall be, without end or limitation. It is what is boundless, immeasurable, inexhaustible. God is infinite and eternal." So in Unity, we say that God is omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent. Omniscient is that which is all-knowing and all-seeing. The all-seeing eye of God. Watch out. Omnipresent is ever-present, or all-present, all-pervading, present within and without all things. And omnipotent is almighty, all-power. It's the power behind all things. So if we were to say, as Charles Fillmore would say, God is infinite and eternal, and we in Unity say that God is all-knowing, ever-present, and all-power, then we have a little bit deeper understanding of what that word infinite means to us in relationship to God. In other words, in Unity, we would say that an infinite God is the knowledge behind all things, present in everything, and is the force of power that lies within us and every living, breathing thing on this planet. Carl Jung once wrote a statement, "The decisive question for man is this: is he related to something infinite or not?" That is a telling question in his life. Only if we know that the thing which truly matters is the infinite, can we avoid fixing our interest upon futilities and upon all kinds of goals which are not of real importance. If we understand and feel that here in this life we already have a link with the infinite, desires and attitudes change. In the final analysis, we count for something only because of the essential we embody. And if we do not embody that, life is wasted. So then my question to you is, do you feel connected to something that is infinite? Something that is the knowledge and wisdom behind all things, that's present everywhere, and is the power that moves the full essence of all things on this planet Earth. Do you feel connected to something like that? The infinite, or the infinite God, is always beyond us. We can look up into the sky at night and see thousands of stars. And in the book it says that our eyes can only take in 5,000 stars at one time. Only 5,000 stars. But for some of us, we wonder what else is out there. And for some like me, we wonder who else is out there. What more is there that I don't even see or know of? How big is our universe? So when I read that question, I thought, well, how big is our universe? So I used Google, and I looked it up. And according to Google, there are about 10 billion galaxies in the observable universe. The number of stars in a galaxy varies, but assuming an average of 100 billion stars per galaxy, that means that there's about 1 billion trillion stars in the observable universe. That's the observable universe, using those huge high-powered telescopes that they have in observatories around the world. That's all that we can observe. But what else is out there? Actually, how big is space? When we look out at night, how big is that space? And another question is that all God? Is God here, there, and everywhere? So if you take our unity definition, then the answer is yes. God is in every one of those 10 billion galaxies. And in every one of the 1 billion trillion stars that are floating around out there in space, as well as in you and I. Because we are our own miniature galaxy of life. In other words, God is so much greater than you and I can ever comprehend, and yet at some level, each and every one of us are still trying to comprehend God. And I think that's what Moses was trying to do when we read about his story in Exodus, where God tells Moses to go to Egypt and to bring the people out of Israel. I think he was trying to still understand who and what God was. In Exodus chapter 3, verses 13 and 14, Moses says to God, "When I go to the people of Israel and say to them, 'The God of our ancestors has sent me to you,' and they ask me, 'What is this God's name?' what am I to say to them?" And God replied, "I am that I am. That is what you will tell the Israelites. I am has sent me to you." This wording, "I am that I am," in and of itself implies this infinite aspect of God. I am. I am, whatever we say, I am. I am that. Meaning I am everything you desire. I am that which you look upon at every given moment. Charles Fillmore once wrote, "The I am of God can be as close to you as the love you desire, as the peace you wish for, the health your body longs for. It is also the wind in the trees, the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, and the stars in the sky. The I am can be as close to you as you desire, or farther away than the eye can see." In unity, we speak of God as principle, so that we can encompass this type of an aspect of an infinite God. And at the time we began using the word principle in unity, unity was trying to replace this picture of a God sitting up there on the throne with a flowing white beard and his big staff and his scowling eyes, ready to blast anyone who did anything against him. This is the God that I was raised with. This is my picture of God as I was raising up. If I did anything wrong, God was going to get me. And in the Bible that we had, that was the picture of God. Huge, big, gorgeous throne, huge, big staff, glorious something on the tip of it, but his hair was flowing back, this long white beard flowing, and his eyes were scowling, and he was ready to zap. But what unity was trying to do at that time, and this goes back, God, almost 100 years ago, it was trying to take that type of a God completely out of the picture for us and give us a God of being, a God that could be intimate to us and yet infinite within the realm of being, one with all and everything. So the name of God, I am, we can bring that sense of the infinite God into the oneness within us, where we can actually feel the love of God in us, as us, through us, and around us. So when I was reading part of this, I had to chuckle because unity wanted to give us a God of our being, a God we could relate to. But as we're looking at this now, since God is infinite, everywhere present as everything, then we could say that God already is our being, because God is being itself. And we are part of that great being of God. So just as God is not knowledgeable, but knowledge itself, just as God is not powerful, but power itself, God is not a being, but is the essence of existence and beingness itself. As this essence of existence, that means that God is within us, as our own personal, universal identity. In the aspect of the infinite face of God, we could say that God is being itself, capital B, capital I. The being I. Being itself, that which creates life, love, and consciousness, because it holds all these qualities in an unmanifest form within its own formlessness. Being is greater than life itself. It's the creator and the container of life. So therefore, God's being is also our being. So when Unity wanted to give us a God of our being, it didn't have to do much, since God as being already was the being that we are. This aspect of God as I am actually opens Jesus' statements about God in a completely different way. I am is not a concept. It's beyond conceptualization. I am is not a substance. It's not matter. The I am is not a person. It's not personal or impersonal. Rather, it's transpersonal, beyond the personal me, beyond the personal of anything. There's a story of a man who came through a life-threatening experience, and he said, I guess the man upstairs was looking out for me on this one. But this is the God that we're called to leave behind, because this man upstairs is too small to be the God that Jesus was talking about. The big man up there needs to be replaced by an infinite God that is everywhere present, all powerful, all knowledgeable, all knowledge itself, all things, everywhere, at all times. In Matthew chapter 5, verses 4 and 5, Jesus said, God sends the sun and the rain on the just and the unjust. So Jesus may have been speaking out of that whole concept of the I am God of Moses being itself, from which comes all creation. That includes the rain, the sunshine, snow, wind, hail. It doesn't matter. Because this is the natural process of Earth's weather systems and patterns and climate changes. It's this beingness of God that manifests as weather. Sunshine, rain, hot, cold. It doesn't matter. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 26, Jesus makes a statement, consider the birds of the air. Your father, mother cares for you more than them. What Jesus is saying here is that the great I am of Moses is this infinite being itself, pouring itself into creation as an ever-evolving love. We, individually and as a group, are cared for more as human beings because we have evolved beyond the birds of the air enough to be able to receive, to be aware of, and to embrace this divine care and love from our infinite God. So as we talk about the infinite God, there's a question that's asked. Is your God big enough to encompass everything we know about the universe? Carl Sagan, the well-known astronomer and cosmologist, once said, how is it that hardly any major religion has looked at science and concluded, this is better than we thought? The universe is bigger than our prophets had said. It's grander, more subtle, more elegant. God must be greater than we ever dreamed. A religion, old or new, that stressed the magnificence of the universe as revealed by modern science might be able to draw forth reserves of reverence and awe hardly tapped by conventional faiths. In the book, Smith asks the question, so how do you know if your God's big enough? And he answers with some of these statements. That your God at least encompasses what we know about the universe today. And yes, for some of us who believe in this, it does include other planets with other beings on them. I had to throw that. Your God is big enough if you can't wrap your mind around that God, but you can let your life wrap around that God. Your God is big enough if you think it's reasonable to believe in that God enough for your heart to love that God. Because the heart can't embrace what the mind rejects. You know your God is big enough if that God is as big as the God Jesus knew and talked about. And when we think about it, look at the so-called miracles that Jesus performed in his life. You know, he changed water to wine, he walked on water, he healed the sick, he raised the dead, he raised his own body after being killed. And he said, it is not I, but it is the God within that does the work. Jesus' God was all powerful, as most of us would say, but in unity we would say Jesus' God was the power behind all his manifestations. The biggest one for me is, you know your God is big enough if your imagination soars to new levels when reflecting about God in the healing and further evolution of this world. To me, I love that statement. Hermes once wrote, God is an infinite sphere, the center of which is everywhere, the circumference nowhere. So I'd like to end my talk today with some words from the song, Greatness. Give me eyes to see more of who you are. I spend my life wanting to know the greatness that you are. Give me the grace to see beyond this moment here. No sky contains the greatness that you are. No time exists where you are not. From the smallest seed upon the earth to the greatest star in all the heavens, nothing holds the greatness that you are. There is nothing that can ever separate you from that which you have made, for everything made just shows the greatness that you are. All you are is love. All you share is love. From the smallest seed upon the earth to the farthest star in all the heavens, nothing can contain your love, for your love just shows the greatness that you are. And so it is.